Have you ever shared a meal with someone who, without fail, leaves just one single bite on their plate? One solitary fry, a spoonful of rice, the last crust of pizza. It's such a specific habit, it feels like it has to mean something. Is it politeness, a subtle diet trick, or is something deeper going on? The answer turns out to be a fascinating mix of history, biology, culture, and psychology. For many people, the pressure to finish everything comes from something deeply ingrained, the Clean Plate Club. Its roots trace back to World War I. In 1917, the U.S. Food Administration, led by Herbert Hoover, one of its major slogans was "Food will win the war." Americans were encouraged to reduce waste, conserve wheat and meat, and avoid leaving scraps on their plates. Citizens signed voluntary pledge cards, and school children recited promises not to waste food. After World War II, similar food conservation efforts were promoted again in 1947 to support a food-short Europe. While not identical to the original campaign, the messaging reinforced the idea that wasting food was morally wrong. For generations, finishing your plate became associated with discipline, gratitude, and respect. But this expectation isn't universal. In some traditional formal dining settings in China, for example, leaving a small amount of food can signal that the host provided more than enough and that you are satisfied. However, in many modern contexts in China, finishing your plate is seen as respectful, especially given contemporary anti-food waste campaigns. In many communal dining cultures around the world, it can also be considered impolite to take the very last piece from a shared dish, as it may appear greedy. So even culturally, the right way to end a meal isn't simple. Biology also plays a role through something called sensory-specific satiety. Described in the early 1980s by researchers including Barbara and Edmund Rolls, this concept explains how our enjoyment of a particular food decreases as we continue eating it. The first bite of chocolate cake feels incredible. By the 10th bite, the pleasure has noticeably faded. Our brains are wired for variety. Research has consistently shown that people eat more when offered a wider range of foods. In controlled studies, participants sometimes consumed over 40% more when presented with multiple different foods compared to repeating the same food. From a biological standpoint, it makes sense to stop eating once the reward value drops, and that often happens right before that final, slightly less exciting bite. It may not be symbolic at all. It may simply be your brain saying, "I'm satisfied." There's also the timing factor. It can take roughly 15 to 20 minutes for the brain to register fullness signals from the gut. Leaving a final bite may, for some people, be an unconscious way of responding to internal satiety cues, rather than just the visual cue of an empty plate. But biology isn't the whole story. For some people, food becomes one of the few areas in life where they feel a sense of control. Choosing when to stop, rather than finishing automatically because the portion is there, can be a subtle act of autonomy. In certain cases, small food rituals can function as quiet psychological boundaries. Stopping just short may reduce feelings of guilt or discomfort associated with overeating, especially for individuals who are sensitive to control, discipline, or anxiety around food. This doesn't mean everyone who leaves a bite has a deep psychological motive. Often it's simply habit. But human behavior rarely comes from just one source. It's usually a blend of biology, learning, culture, and personal meaning. So the next time you see that one lone bite left behind, you'll know it isn't just a random quirk. It may carry echoes of wartime messaging, cultural etiquette, brain chemistry, or a quiet need for autonomy. Are you a proud member of the Clean Plate Club? Or do you always leave one bite behind? Let us know in the comments below.